Hello everybody, and today I wanted to go over a 2700 puzzle that gave me some trials and tribulations that I was unfortunately unable to solve. And I wanted to break it down and hopefully let you be able to understand this puzzle and be able to help solve future puzzles as far as being able to break down what's going on here. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing to notice is that we have a passed pawn, e7 pawn, and we have the knight pinned against the king. The knight is pinned to the king, and the queen, of course, is guarding the promotion square. Black's queen is guarding the promotion square, as well as the knight is guarding the promotion square. And so promoting immediately is not going to be effective, as there will be a simple takes, and we'll be down a pawn. And our potential winning strategy, of course, is diminished. So the next thing that I'd like to note is that we have potentially, of course, the move h5 and a bishop move. As far as moving the queen doesn't actually seem to be a move. The queen doesn't appear to have a move that is active enough compared to the square that it's already on. It seems like it's on an ideal square. If we try to do some type of deflection tactic like queen to e6, simply the knight will take, and after pawn promotes, we have basically exchanged a queen for a queen, to promote to a queen and lose a pawn. But this is not only the other problem, but there is a deadly discovered attack on our newly promoted queen with a knight to g5 or knight to f4 check. And knight to f4 check would probably be the best move, being able to take the queen, and then potentially the king would move up and be able to take the bishop, and black is going to be able to promote his a pawn and be able to win the game. So this kind of deflection tactic is just something that's probably, it just won't work. And noting that the other move we'll go through is h5. Now, h5 is a move that seems like it should work. However, after the pawn potentially to moves to a2, let's just say, and queen then moves to g6 check, the king can move to g8. And after king to g8, if bishop moves to e4, we have a potential attack for white, but it gets us no more than a potential perpetual check after, let's just say, the pawn moves again to promote to a queen check to h7, and then king moves to f7, and then queen back to g6 check is probably the best move for white, and at least no more than to a perpetual check. That would be best for white in this position. So as far as everything else goes, h5 just doesn't seem to be able to do the trick as well. Of course, notice, of course, if queen takes, of course, hoping that queen will take, then queen takes, knight takes, then we can promote to a queen. There is a fork on f4, but that's pretty much it. And white will be up a queen and should be able to gobble up the pawns. So that would be a hopeful strategy, but not the right move. The last part of this puzzle is basically moving at the looking at the bishop. And initially, of course, noticing that your bishop really isn't doing anything is probably a grandmaster strategy, of course, to be able to bring all your pieces into an attack or a position and have them doing something active. So noticing what the bishop is doing, the bishop doesn't have a lot of squares to move. It only has 3 legal moves that it can make. And bishop to e4 seems like the right move. However, of course, the queen can simply take. And the point that we want to get by is that if we could get to a check, the king would have to move, and we could potentially have an attack on the king, as well as being able to potentially sacrifice our queen for the knight and promote to another queen would be an ideal possibility as well, if we could get the king further enough away. Or we could potentially have the bishop go to g6 and be able to win a piece for the being able to be up material. However, there is the deadly a2, of course, that we'd have to watch out for depending on how we do this. So the correct move is bishop to f1. Now, because like we said, that the queen could simply take, now that we have the bishop moved to f1, we're eyeing that critical d3 square, which the critical d3 square is going to be a positional deflectionary tactic square that is basically pinning the queen to the king and moving the queen out of the way for our pawn to be promoted, because as I said earlier in the beginning of this, the knight is pinned to the queen. So there you have it, the solution to the puzzle. Basically a clear advantage for white, 2 queens up, and with further analysis you can run this through the engine. White is going to win with either a checkmate or substantial loss of material for black. Thanks so much.